Hey guys, Mike coming back again. I did get another one of the pieces in that I was talking about in the previous video. This is a sweet photo. I do love my photos, and I got this one from Memory Lane. This is an original photograph of Hank with Babe Ruth, Type 1 authentic from 1947. As I mentioned in his previous videos, Hank was sold by Pittsburgh or Detroit to Pittsburgh in 1947. He was let go on January 18th of 47, and he was going to retire. And eventually, in February, he decided he'd play one more year. And on his way to Pittsburgh, he decided that he'd like to see Babe Ruth. He stopped. Babe Ruth had throat cancer at the time, and wasn't really seeing anybody or even answering the phone, according to Hank in his book. But his agent did get him in to see Babe. Babe agreed to see him, and on February 24th, Hank went to Babe's apartment in New York and for the afternoon, and probably the greatest home run hitter of the time was visited by the current greatest home run hitter. So it was really cool. Hank had come back after the war, led the Tigers to a World Series, and in '46 he was a home run leader in the the American League. I think in RBIs also, and they got together. He just wanted to pay his respects. He knew Babe was sick. In fact, Babe would die a little over a year later in 1948. But on this day, Babe showed him around the apartment, his trophies, signed a large photo to Hank that Hank said that hung on his wall in his home for the rest of his life, I guess about another 40 years. And that he was very kind to Hank. He had played, I think Babe Ruth retired in '35. I could be wrong. Hank started in '33. They did play the Yankees quite a few times, but he said he never really got to know Babe Ruth at that time, obviously. But he did appreciate this time he had to spend with him. In this photo, there's a photo existing that I've seen from this series of him showing him his trophies, some photographs, signing a photograph to Hank. This one came up in Memory Lane. It's not a newest agency photo. This is the actual original photo made off the negative. And it's a beautiful photograph showing them, both of them, with their batting grips. It's kind of neat to see Babe Ruth's hands. If you can see how large, he had huge hands. His knuckles and such I don't know if he had arthritis or not, but they're kind of this huge hands compared to Hank, who I'm sure had big hands too, because he was a big guy. But very cool moment of them comparing grips, I would assume. As you can see, Babe looks, I don't know if he'd had surgery already on his throat. It does look like there could be like a scar there on his side. I don't know if that's the case or not, but obviously he's not in great health at this time. But it's neat that they got together and discussed I have no telling what they discussed at the time. I'm sure Babe wasn't too happy with the way things turned out at the end of his career. How he considered baseball took care of him. And at the time, Hank didn't really want to play another year. He did it for Pittsburgh because they were rebuilding. They had a young Ralph Kiner on the team. He kind of mentored that year. But he only played 1 year in Pittsburgh. This was on February 24th, and then he showed up at camp, had his first batting practice on March 3rd. So it wasn't shortly after this. And he says this is the last time he ever saw Babe Ruth again alive. And but anyway, a nice picture. I just love these. I had one of the other photos of variations from this session a few years ago, and I traded it for another card I needed for Hank. Wasn't in great shape though, whereas this one's got one little crease, but besides that, it's in beautiful condition. So another photo to add to the collection, and it's nice to have one with the great Babe Ruth in it also. And very cool. But thanks for watching, and I hope everybody's doing well, and Lord willing, we'll do it again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.